Today to explain a widget called the finance log. And this is a widget that just helps me to understand my expenses and my finances. And in particular, it helps me to understand where my biggest expenses are and what I'm spending lots of money on or too much money on. And in addition to the usefulness of expense tracking, it helps. This video is a demonstration of the ability to integrate an external data source with the widget system. So we're going to take some data. This right here is my Capital One credit card system. And what I'm going to do is download transactions and select a file type. Actually, I just realized I need to delete a file. Let's see. ls desktop. Oh, maybe I didn't. Okay. So select a file type CSV. Select a time period. And this part is a little bit specific to my use case. I don't think that other people want to do it that way. What I'm doing here is I'm just creating a span of time that pads September 2020. I want to import data for September 2020, but I'm selecting a date window that pads September 20. So I download that, and I should have a file here. Looks like that. Yep. So there it is. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy the finance database from the server. Okay, so this command here grabbed that database down to my local laptop. And I'm going to go into that file now, db finance db. And I'll show you the schema here. So it's basically got two tables, finance main and finance note. And there's a little bit of sort of housekeeping views there that don't matter that much for this video. So let's look at select max transact date from finance main. Okay, so the most recent date there is August 31, so the end of October, end of August 2020. And same for the finance note, and I'll just do a select star from finance main order by ID desk. So this should give the most recent records from that table. So this is just some things I've been spending money on in August. You can see like Uber trips here and some coffee and some plane ticket, that kind of thing. So now I will exit out of this, and I'm going to run two commands. And these commands are my own personal scripts that I've used that basically slurp that CSV data into the database. So the first thing, the first script copied that CSV file and did a bunch of error checking into this file. So here it is. So it's been checked and placed in a standard location, cred _ sep 2020.csv. So again, it's for September 2020, even though it has some padding dates to above and below September 2020. Okay, so that's just moving the data around a little bit, and then I'm going to run this other command, load new file, load new finance info. And that is going to just slurp all those records into the database itself. And I'll just go back in there and do, again, the select max transact date from finance main. So now you see that it's advanced to September 30th. It did not pull, it had those padding records, but did not pull them in. It only did 1 month's worth of data. So, and I'll do another select star. Okay, so you see these are new records for more recent dates, September 2020 dates. Okay, so now I will exit that, and now what I'm going to do is send the file back up to the server. All right, so I pull it down to local. I did some scripts to pull in the CSVs into the SQLite database. Now I'm sending the SQLite back up to the server. And one thing that's interesting here is that it says new version of AutoGen code identical to the previous. What that means is that it's checking the schema of the database tables to see if it needs to rebuild the programmatically generated JavaScript code. And because I didn't change the schema, it's saying you don't have to rebuild it. But if you did change the schema, then it would regenerate that JavaScript data when you upload it. Okay, and so now I'm going to go back to so this is the widget server, danberford.net, and I'm going to reload this page and see what happens. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing now. So what it's doing now is asking me to categorize these records. Right, so a lot of them are coming in here as uncategorized. So I'm just going to go ahead and categorize them. There's just a lot of them are kind of like daily use or food. I spend a lot of money on food. Sometimes I don't really remember what the item was. In which case I just TST Bradley. That is going to be a travel record. That's from flying around. This is transport, it's gas, some more food. Another travel record. Food. I log, this is contact lenses. I log that as healthcare. Food. 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 Fisherman is food, pink basil is food. These I ignore. This is basically me paying for Toastmasters renewal. People in my club. That one is alcohol. Ignore. The reason I ignore those is I'm getting reimbursed by somebody else in a different through PayPal. So I don't want those to show up in my expenses. They're not really expenses. This is transport. I can never remember what these damn Amazon things are. This is my cell phone. Cell phone. Sometimes I don't remember these things. And so, you know, it's a nice little process to go through here and say, okay, what did I spend my money on? Are these charges legitimate? Transport, summer houses, food. All right, now I'm done categorizing that. So that is a little bit of a chore. That takes about, well, you just saw me do it, so it takes 2 or 3 minutes once a month. Okay, so now I'm going. This is the whole point of the system, is that now I can see what my expenses are looking like. And this is actually a little bit too low. I have a missing rent check. I should have gotten 2 rent checks in the last, this is 60 days, so it should be 2 rent checks. So the statistics get better if you do an aggregation for a longer day period. So I'm looking here for 270 days. So it's telling me an extrapolation of how much money I will spend if I spend, right? It's calculating my daily expenditure rate and then extrapolating that to a total yearly rate. So if I go for different periods, the statistics become more or less relevant and reliable. So this record is more reliable. I actually know what my daily spending on rent is. It's basically $50 a day. The one that goes up and down a lot is food. And so it's saying here that I spend $25 a day on food. That does seem like a lot, but what can I say? I eat out a lot. I get a lot of takeout. In COVID, I've been eating out more frequently than before because I can't get free food at my workplace. If I go for smaller time periods, it's giving me more recent statistics. This one is actually, the problem with the small windows is that they don't get enough data. Sometimes the data imports are a little bit lumpy, so you'll get some records that are clumped together in one time period. So yeah, so I can see what's going on with my expenses. This one actually, I've realized recently that I spend a lot of money on Chinese tutoring. So this record is something that I'm starting to become aware of. I'm noticing that I spend about $100 a week on Chinese tutoring, and that's starting to seem a little bit expensive. I spend a lot of money on my business. Business is basically cloud servers, right? I spend a lot of money on my AWS bill, so I should get better at managing that a little bit. I can also go back. This donation, that seems high, right? Or maybe it doesn't seem high, but it seems, I can't really explain it. What was that for? No, that didn't work. I've got to fix this. This should show a longer history. It's currently cutting off at a 90-day window. I've got to fix that. That's on my to-do list to fix. Anyway, that hopefully from this video you learned that you can integrate the widget system with an external data source by grabbing the SQLite file to your local laptop, running any kind of scripts you want, any kind of import data processing scripts you want to get the data into the SQLite file, sending it back to the server, and then you'll have the new data that you want to look at. Thanks for watching the video. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions.